Hello and thanks for joining me on the Jackaroo channel. I recently created an RPCV video and it all went a bit pear-shaped because the RPCV that I removed got slightly bent and damaged by the tool, the removal tool, and I ended up with a sticking bobbin which has caused the car not to run correctly. I have since obtained another one, another RPCV, so I'm now going to do another RPCV removal, cleaning and refitting video, hopefully this time a bit more successful. Okay, so the symptoms I've currently got with the RPCV is that the engine takes a long time to turn. It turns over okay, but it takes a long time to fire up. First of all, we need to open the bonnet, and this time I'm going to give you a bit better view. I'll get some light and put that on the situation. So there's a light, that should help, and you should be able to see down into the depths. So let me grab my tools and then we'll take it from there. I don't know if you can see, but that down there where the screwdriver is the solenoid, and then just below it is the RPCV. So the best thing to do is to remove this pipe here from the map sensor around to the manifold, because these things will rip your arms to shreds. As you can see, my arm is ripped to shreds. Okay, always get yourself a pair of these. There's one thing about a Ryobi light: you can guarantee that as soon as you need to use it, the battery will go flat. Luckily, we always have one on charge. And there we go, more light again. So, first job is, with a set pair of these, if you can get them in, is to get hold. What these do is, when you've got a clamp like this one here, what these do, they lock on and they lock closed, so you can move it up and down. But I don't think I can get in there with this one, so we'll do it manually. Okay, so the best thing to do is to stuff that up there, and hopefully that's out of the way. Now I can get my hand down into the depths and unclip. This is all done by feel, so I don't know if you can see. The light isn't brilliant. You can now see the coil plug down there. Here, that's the coil plug removed. So what I've got to do now is I've got to, here's the replacement. The press seal nut on here, that has to be removed. That's 19mm. Then you've got the top hat, and then the coil slides off. This is where the coil connector was connected onto. The best tool for the job is a ratchet spanner if you can get one. Make sure you're going the correct way, and then it's all done by feel. Feel your way onto the end of the nut. You'll drop everything. So there's the nut off. So I can remove that. Keep that as a spare. Right. The next job is to get the top hat off, and now I've got to get the coil off. This is the thing I always drop. But it is quite tight. Right, I didn't drop it today. There's the coil. As you can see, there's the plug hole. Okay, so what we're left with now is that. And to get that out, I've now got a special tool which you can get from Chris off the Facebook group, which has been manufactured specifically for this job. It slides over the end of there, engages with the nut, but the end of it fits through there, and it's actually, this is 21mm, I believe. And you can tell, there you go, 21mm. I don't have a ratchet, so we'll go with this. Now, the next part of the job is you've got to get that over that shaft. So this might be not that easy, might be not much space, but you can do it. You've got to locate the shaft, which is right in there. It shouldn't be that tight. So, okay, I've already cut myself. I think if you haven't got a ratchet spanner, then the open ender is the better option in this case, because there's not a lot of space down there to get your spanner on. Once you've got it loose enough, it will come by hand. So I'm actually unscrewing it by hand, and I'm going to take it out with the socket still attached to the RPCV body. So bear with me. Okay, let's get it out of there. It's a little bit fiddly, but just be careful because it will be black with engine oil. A word of caution: if you've got a 21mm ratchet and it's got a big head on it like that, try and get one with a smaller head, because that will fit in. Okay, so there's the RPCV out of the engine with the oil wiped off it. That's the part that I'm going to replace. Okay, so let's not get them mixed up. Okay, so I've been testing out a new pneumatic hydraulic jack. I did get one off eBay and it was broken, so I've got that over there. This is a replacement and it works perfect. So if you hear the compressor come on, I do apologise. Things you'll need for this job: you'll need some engine oil, you'll need some contact cleaner, you'll need a good cloth, you'll need some brake cleaner, and you'll need a tray to put the components in, because there's some small bits in here. Okay, now then, let's just loosen that off. This is loose, but I'm just going to loosen it a little bit more. So this bit will come out of here. Okay, now in the end of here is a tiny little pin. If you can help it, don't take it out, but if you can't, then that's fine. So this is the bit in here that comes out of there, and behind that is a bobbin. It looks like a piston, and what its job is to, you can just hear it moving, you can't quite hear it, but what the job is of that piston is to stop that valve in there from being exerted huge pressures immediately. It's to dampen it down, so it has a hole in, a large hole in one end and a small hole in the other, which dampens it down. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a clean out in there. I don't have a lot of brake cleaner left, unfortunately, so I used it all up the other day. And I'm just going to put some engine oil into there now that's cleaned out. Let that sit. Okay, so let's take the little pin out of here. Not going to come out, so we'll leave it in. It might blow out when you do this. I'm not going to take it any further apart because I don't want to tempt fate. Effectively, what this little pin does, the big pin in here gets moved by oil pressure. It shoves on this in here. This in turn pushes against this little pin, which opens these 4 little ports here, which allows the oil pressure through. That's how the oil pressure works in this. Okay, so we'll just give it a quick wipe, and I'm going to assemble it straight off. I'm not going to tempt fate by taking it apart. I'm going to put it back together and run it. So I'm going to put a bit of engine oil on all around, because this is normally running in engine oil. Okay, so this screws back into here. Okay, now if you want to strip the oils down further, you can take the end of this out and you can remove all of the spring and everything that's in there, and you can also take out the bobbin in here and the other pin, and you can strip them down too. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tempt fate, because the last time I did it, it all went horribly wrong. So I'm just going to reassemble this. So I'm just going to knit this back up. It doesn't have to be tremendously tight. It's not going anywhere. You don't have to score your teeth marks into here or anything like that. Okay. So we don't think that this has ever been out of the engine it was in. It looked like it had been in there forever. So I'm just going to put some engine oil on, make sure it's well lubricated. There's oil on the O-rings, and I'm going to refit this. Okay. Now I'll show you again. It goes on like that, it fits in there, and then that will screw it back in, and then I'll remove that socket out again once that's in. Okay, so let's go for the assembly. Okay, so you're back on the car again, and we're getting ready to put this in. So I'm just going to get a cloth, and if you put your hand in where the RPCV was, you'll feel a hole in the back of the HPOP, the high pressure oil pump, the H-pop. I'm just going to wipe that down, make sure it's clean, make sure it's all the dirty engine oils off it. Okay, so we get our RPCV, and we make sure that the end goes into the hole, and then we use the socket to screw it back in. Now, a word of warning when you put your hand down here. There is a couple of metal pipes, and your little finger, your pinky finger, is of no use whatsoever down here, so you'll tend to move it out of the way. Now I keep getting mine trapped between the two metal pipes, and it is a beggar once you get your finger trapped, because it's really hard to get it out. So try not to do that. If you fold your little pinky up, try not to put it between the two metal pipes. Okay. Now then, it gets a bit oily because of the clean oil I put all over it, so you might need to use a cloth just to finish tightening it up. Okay, so that's clear, that's tightened up. I thought I'd just show you, this is the most important tool. That's a magnet, okay, that sticks to stuff, and it's on a telescopic rod. If you're having a bad day, you'll definitely need one of those, because what happens is they drop down the back of the pipes down there, and they're a beggar to get out. Now, it might involve a lot of high pressure, but you don't need to tighten this up so tight that you can't undo it again. Okay, there may well be a torque spec for it. You'll have to look in the manual, but I've never used one. So just give it a bit of a grunt, a couple of grunts. As you'll hear in a second when I get this spanner on, we'll have a couple of grunts, and then so it's nipping it up. Turn the spanner around. Still nipping it up, because we're taking, don't forget what we're doing is we're taking up the we're inserting the O-ring into the hole so that it seals. Okay, so it's slowly getting tighter. Right, it's tightened up there, so okay, that's as tight as you need to get it. That's the 21 over with. Alright, so let's get the socket off now. Let's not, hopefully this time we don't drop it. So the next thing is the solenoid. Now I'm just going to give this a spray out with contact cleaner, make sure it is clean in there, you know. So you just spray it in the hole. Sorry if I sprayed the camera. Let it dribble out, and then let it evaporate. And that should, and you can see the brown seal is in there. You need that in there. Now you can put a bit of dielectric grease onto the around the plug if you wish. It's already on my plug because I used it on the last one, So the key thing here is to get this over the end and on, and then you need to get the plug on. You can leave the plug till the end if you wish, but I usually put it on earlier because sorry about the noise, there's somebody doing something up the street. I've lost the electrical plug, it must have dropped down in the back, so I'll find that and then we'll carry on. It's dropped down there. I can feel it down there but I can't get to it, so I'll grab the cable and pull it up. Unfortunately it's plastic, so I can't use my magnet on it. Okay, so there's the electrical plug. So you can see the plug down there, and you can see the coil with the end of the RPCV sticking out down in there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to fit the top hat on. So the best way to do it is to put it in your fingers like this, and then drop it down back and slide it on like that. Now this is a little bit more tricky because you've got to get this lined up and screwed on. So what I do is I try to fit it onto the end and then get in and tighten it up. The problem for me here is that the car's at an angle, so I've got to have the nut at an angle to fit on the shaft. Right, so you can see it's fitted to it there, and you get your 19mm. Make sure you're going in the right direction. Fit it on the end. Now this is not very tight. You don't need, all it's doing is holding the coil in place. Okay, so you don't need to have anything. There's no torque settings for this. You don't need to have it majorly tight. Snug, as the Americans call it, just hand tight is absolutely fine. The problem is it's quite thin and the spanner just slips off it. Okay, so that's it. It's hand tight. You can see it's in there. You can see the socket. Now, a word that I didn't tell you when I was taking this apart is that the catches for the plug are on either side of the socket. So you pull them out and then the socket will come off. So we're all back in and we're in place again. So what we need to do now is fit our pneumatic hoses back again. So I pulled this one off here. This is the EGR one. I'm going to have to get those pliers to nip that. So bear with me. Okay. So if I can get in with these, this will do the job. I'll just push that back on and let go of it again. Right, so that's on. So also I pulled off, see this here, and which is this pipe down here. So that pipe's off as well. So that attaches to, you can't really see that, bottom of the manifold where the EGR is. It attaches there. Then this pipe comes up and attaches onto there, and it's not doing it very well. It's not got a good seal, that. However, it's on. So now what left is this one. This goes on to the outlet from the manifold. Push the clip back up. That should be okay. You won't have this pipe here unless you've got a turbo boost gauge in your dash on the dash somewhere. That is the takeoff for the turbo boost gauge. That T-piece isn't normally in there. That's a straight hose normally, so you won't have that problem. Okay, so that's everything back in. So let's clear out the engine bay and give it a go. Now I'm all about giving people hints and tips. If you haven't got yourself a 27mm spanner, open-ended, you need open-ended. Ring spanner at one end is fine, but open-ended. And the reason you have a 27mm spanner is for that big nut just down there. That pipe there goes into the rocker cover, and that needs to be removed to take the rocker cover off. That's called a high pressure oil pipe, and it goes down to a valve down there, then down to the back of the high pressure oil pump. 27mm, you'll need that. So that concludes the removal, the refitting, the cleaning and the refitting of the RPCV. All we need to do now is start the engine up. Now just be aware that we've been interfering with the high pressure oil system. We've taken, hang on a sec, high pressure oil out of the thing, so it might take a few seconds to start up. So here we go. And there we are, that's it running.
Congratulations, you and your work.
Sorry about the radio. The engine seems to be running fine. I've got a squeak on the alternator belt. That needs tightening up. It's a pain in the butt to do, but I might do it if I've got time. So the key here now is to turn off the engine, leave it for a minute or two, and then turn it back on again. Now this time I'm going to mute the audio, so hopefully. So I'll turn it back on, let the glow plug light go out, and then when that comes on I'm just going to mute it, and then we'll try again. Couldn't get it to mute, so I've just turned the volume down. Alright, so it should start straight up. There you go. Perfect, it's working a treat. If you can start straight back up like that, then it's holding the pressure, whereas the other one, because of the bobbin, wasn't. And there you go, starting straight up every time. That's good. So that concludes the removal, the cleaning and the refitting of the RPCV. You now know where it is, you now know how to remove it, you now know that you're going to get shredded on your wrists and your knuckles, but you know you can do that job now. That's not a big deal. If anybody needs any more information on stripping it down or what it looks like when it's in pieces, I can help with that. Just let me know in the comments and I shall send you some information. Thank you very much for watching my RPCV removal, cleaning and refitting video. I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching, and I just want to add, can you like and subscribe, and if you want to be a Patreon, you will get one of the Jackaroo channel stickers. I'll send it to you in the mail if you send me your address on a private message or something like that, and or an email, and as a thank you for joining and supporting the channel. Hopefully we'll do more of these. The next one we'll do hopefully will be tightening the fan belt. How about that? Tightening the alternator belt. We can do a video for that. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope to see you out there.